Hello, everyone. Rhino here with another trending thread from Disboards.com. Today's thread can be found in the Theme Parks Attractions and Strategies forum and is titled Disney versus Universal COVID. This thread is all about the safety protocols that have been put in place at Universal Orlando Resort as well as Walt Disney World, and it's from posters and people who have been there. So before we get started, I just want to make it very clear that the decision to visit a theme park is yours and yours alone. I am not going to tell you whether you should or shouldn't be going. I have given my opinion on my experience at both Universal Studios Orlando as well as Disney's Hollywood Studios. So I'll try and put links to those in the description of this video if you feel like you want to check those out, but they're pretty readily available at youtube.com/disunplugged. So check those out. I felt like this thread would be a good way to add some other folks' perspective into the mix, and we're just going to dive right in, all right? This thread was started by poster Retro Echo, where she says, "Hi. We are going to Orlando at the end of September. We are diehard Disney goers, but Universal's buy two, get two is very appealing. We likely will go ahead and purchase it to use next year regardless. But my question is, if you've been to both recently, who has the best COVID protocols? Did you feel safer at either one? Same. We aren't overly concerned about COVID, but if there's a marked difference, I'd like to know." Well, you should be concerned about it. But Kai Coke 16 has said, "I was at Universal for part of my honeymoon in June and have made 2 trips to Disney since. The only big difference I noticed was that Disney has hand sanitizer dispensers before and after the ride, but do not enforce it. Universal has workers who squirt sanitizer in your hand before every ride. It isn't an option. I've seen some say they don't like this because the worker has to get so close to you to do it. I liked it because it was enforced. Also, Universal allowed masks to be removed on water rides, and from what I can tell, Disney does not. I've been on Splash Mountain several times and have never been told I could remove my mask, though I've not been to Animal Kingdom to ride Kali River Rapids. That being said, I felt very safe on both properties." Now, a bunch of other posters brought up the hand sanitizer at Universal as well, and they really did seem to enjoy that they enforced it there, and personally, I like that it's enforced there as well. It kind of cuts down on that fear of dirty surfaces, but this is something I wish we had done before and hope that we continue to do after, because humans are gross. Am I right? Now, Chrissy Mickey makes a point of saying Universal doesn't require the planning stress of reserving days. Also, with Universal, you can still hop from park to park if you purchase tickets that include this. I'm a hopper. With Disney's block on hopping, I hop between Disney and Universal. For example, tomorrow morning I'm going to Universal Studios and then I hop to Epcot, for which I hold a reservation. Other changes are quite similar except for the hand sanitizer issue as mentioned by Kai Coke 16. Regardless of all that, I still love going to Disney and Universal and feel relatively safe at both." I felt like poster Puffkin had some helpful insight, saying, "Here now, did 4 days at Universal and it was great. With Express Pass, stayed at Hard Rock, we could do whatever we wanted, whenever we wanted. I didn't feel like I was missing much of the experience. I like that they squirted hand sanitizer on your hands there. I also saw a lot of things being wiped down at Universal, but not really at Disney. I also liked at Universal that in the bathrooms they mark sinks to use and not use. It's a free-for-all at Disney. Animal Kingdom felt very shut down. The low crowds were nice, but it really didn't feel the same. Magic Kingdom did feel a lot more normal. We haven't been to Epcot or Disney's Hollywood Studios yet. We're having a good time, but Universal feels more complete experience right now, where Disney is fine, but definitely very different. My kids said this is our best trip ever for what it's worth." M. Layman 7 has also stayed on property and had this to add. "We did 3 nights at the Hard Rock earlier this week and are on our last night at the Animal Kingdom Lodge. We thought Universal had everything thought out and executed better than Disney. At Universal, everything seemed to be running smoother and it just made you feel safer. At the hotel, you had to have your temp checked daily, then given a wristband for that day. At Disney, nobody cares if you are staying sick or not, therefore more likely somebody sick can still use public areas, pools, dining, etc. At the parks, Universal would escort people to specific seats. At theaters, Disney is still a free-for-all, mass entrance and exit, very difficult to avoid others. Universal also made you apply hand sanitizer before each ride. Disney has plenty of sanitizing stations mounted, but does not enforce that you use it. That seems to be the biggest difference. Universal makes unsafe people be safe. Disney seems to have stricter requirements but does not enforce it. We've seen many people at Disney not abiding by mask rule throughout the parks compared to Universal. We have felt safe at both places, but comparatively, Universal has Disney beat. That's pretty interesting. J. Trent 16 has this to say about mask compliance at the parks. We went to Universal and Disney in the end of July. Only issue I had there was the mask compliance with people wasn't followed as well. It wasn't the employees being lazy because I saw their employees telling people to pull them up, but a good amount of adults had them off or pulled down and they weren't even eating or drinking. That's what the rest areas are for, to take a break in a safe space. Kids were great wearing masks from what I experienced unless the parents were neglecting to enforce the rules with their children. That was my experience though and what I saw. And the last post I want to read before I wrap up here is from Yulilin3, who had this to say. Been going to all three major theme parks since they reopened. Universal and Disney have very similar guidelines. Both properties are doing a great job. Stupid, entitled people breaking the rules will be found everywhere. So it's really up to you and what your family wants to experience. My 2 cents before we close out here is that you're going to want to be aware of really large crowds first thing in the morning, especially with shortened theme park hours on the horizon. People are just really going to try to be getting in there first thing in the a.m. Make sure you're always wearing that mask and make sure you're washing your hands as frequently as you can, even with that extra use of the hand sanitizer. Nothing beats washing those hands. We're humans. We're gross. I said it before. And I know that Retro Echo said that they weren't concerned about COVID, but honestly, you really should be. And if not for your safety, then for the safety of those around you, especially those theme park employees that are there to make sure that you have a park to visit and attend to. So like Yulin3 said, don't be a stupid, entitled person. Just follow the rules. It's that simple. All right, so that's going to do it for me. If you enjoyed this video, I ask that you please give me some thumbs up and subscribe to the channel as well. And if you'd like to join in on the discussion or any one of the other many discussions that are happening over on Disboards.com, please check that out. It is one of the liveliest and largest Disney fan communities on the web. And when booking your next Disney vacation, consider using Dreams Unlimited Travel. When you do that, it costs you nothing extra and you help support the show. Okay, so check them out, dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. That's going to do it for me, everybody, but I'll be back with another trending thread soon. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Stay safe.